Right now on Today in AZ, several officers are hurt. One person is barricaded inside of a home. We know at least one other person involved is injured as well this morning. This all happened overnight near 54th Avenue and Elmwood Street. The scene has been extremely active throughout the night. It is still active at this hour. Police telling people to stay in their homes and away from the area if you can avoid it.
Right. So we have some new video into the newsroom this morning regarding this incident. Now, we've blurred this video, but here is what it shows. You can see there a person exiting the home holding what looks like a child, and they also have a pink baby bag in their hand. That person squats down, puts the bag and the child right there on the front steps, on the front porch. You can see them put their hands up in the air right there. Now, we also see that person backing up to the police officers. There's that video. We know that person is now with police outside of that residence. We don't know what role they play in all of this. We're working to find out exactly what that might be. We also do not have an update on the child that was placed on the front porch, on the front steps there, but you can see that person backing out into police custody there.
And as that person gets backed up and taken into police custody, you're looking right now, moments after that person was taken into custody, a warning: the video may be hard to watch when shots are fired.
Okay, there it is. Now, we do know several officers, one person injured. At last check, a suspect was barricaded inside a home. We're also waiting on a press conference, a media briefing from police in Phoenix. Jess Winters has been out there all morning long. Jess, this has been chaotic. Police helicopters, SWAT teams, multiple patrol vehicles. What do we know right now?
Scott, chaotic to say the least. And just as you said, the latest update we have from Phoenix Police is that one suspect is barricaded, one person injured, and several officers injured. We don't have an exact count. But what I will tell you is things seem to be quieting down here on the scene. It was a very active scene up until about a half an hour ago. But in the past couple of minutes, I've seen teams in tactical gear. They've been packing up their police cars. I don't see the chopper overhead anymore. I no longer see a drone out here. And we have been able to move much, much closer to the scene of where this crime seemed to happen. This is on the corner of 54th and Elwood. If you need a point of reference, this is kind of near the Maricopa County Technical Institute. Now, you can still see the flashing red and blue lights. People are still advised to stay out of this area. And I spoke to several witnesses today. One, she is a flight attendant, and she says she was awoken around 2:25 this morning to the sound of many, many shots, a barrage of shots, and then later on even more shots. And then police officers did end up knocking on the door, telling her to evacuate. I also talked to a gentleman earlier. His name is Justin Jacobs, and he said the same thing. Around 2:10, he heard shots, and then all of a sudden he got a knock on the door telling him he needed to exit his home. He said him and a couple of other neighbors went to this rotary, kind of like a roundabout behind the crime scene tape, and that's where they were kind of behind cover, behind trees. And he said he did feel safe there, and as the morning progresses, he feels more and more safe. He feels like his family is safe, and he says this neighborhood is typically safe. He has never heard this many gunshots or seen this kind of activity in his neighborhood ever, and he says he has lived here for years. Again, this is the corner of 54th and Elwood. I personally have been out here since 3 a.m., and during that hour, it was chaotic, as Scott said. We had the chopper overhead, we had a drone out here, we had police officers, we had the fire department, and every so often you would hear that barrage of shots, 5, 6, 7 of them at any given time, and then around 4:45 we heard a flashbang. So this has been a very active scene all morning, a developing situation that we've been following, and we are expected to get that media briefing. It was supposed to start at 6 a.m., so we're expecting it any minute, and we should be learning a lot more information. For now, we are live in Phoenix. Jess Winters, Today in AZ.
All right, Jess, thank you. And we'll join back in when police do give that media briefing this morning. All right, we're sending things over to Vanessa because that area is being closed off this morning. So how is this impacting traffic for people who are trying to head out?
Okay, so 54th Avenue in Elwood is between Lower Buckeye Road and Broadway Road. So at this time, they're asking you to avoid that area because of the investigation, but we do see some busy traffic on 51st Avenue. So as you're heading south, we have orange. As you're heading north, we have the yellow zone. So definitely traffic is building up between this area. Allow yourself some extra travel time if you're heading out on 51st, and just know you may see some traffic until this incident is completely cleared up.
All right, Vanessa. Vanessa, thank you. Remember, you can get the latest when it comes to updates on this story and more by downloading the free 12 News app or heading to 12news.com. Just about 6:05 this Friday morning. Let's get you up to speed now on the stories you need to know to start your day. A military training exercise goes wrong in the West Valley as a fighter plane crashes about 15 miles away from the runways at Luke Air Force Base. The cause of that crash still under investigation, but the pilot safely ejected. Flight records show the plane appeared to be returning from flying in airspace used by the military for training. We are learning some new information about the services set for Buckeye Valley fire engineer Brian Miller. Miller died following a month-long battle with COVID-19. He worked for almost 15 years with Buckeye Valley and was just recently assigned to Rainbow Valley. He'll be laid to rest next Thursday at Christ Church of the Valley in Verrado. Miller survived by his wife and 2 children. This morning, crews continue to battle a brush fire burning near Laguna Beach. The Emerald Fire, it's estimated to be about 145 acres, 75 engines, strike teams, air tankers, helicopters, bulldozers, all being used in this firefight. So far, no structures have been damaged. There are no reports of any injuries.
All right, this morning we're going to send things over to Crystal because she's tracking the effects of that.
Yeah.
And also the Super Bowl in California as well. They're just in general experiencing a lot of heat right now, and they're not used to that this time of year.
No, usually you would expect them to be maxing out in the 60s, but here we go, cracking 90s. 91 degrees reported in Santa Ana, and of course also with that same name, those Santa Ana winds had been kicking in, those very strong compressing winds that speed up as they move offshore. There were reports of gusts in the 70s. Gonna send it back to you, Scott and Rachel. I understand there's some developments.
We're going to go back out live to the police situation we've been telling you out this morning. Phoenix police now beginning their media briefing.
After being shot in the line of duty, and a woman has been critically injured. The scene is in West Phoenix, as was mentioned. It's still active, but we wanted to update you on what we know so far. Please remember this is a preliminary investigation and things could change rapidly. Phoenix Police was called to a shooting at a home near 51st Avenue in Lower Buckeye. As one of our officers approached to help, a suspect opened fire, striking him multiple times. There was a baby in the home who at some point was placed in a carrier and placed outside. As officers went to bring that baby to safety, the suspect continued to shoot, firing and striking 4 other officers. At that time, our officers returned fire. The suspect then barricaded himself in the home, and right now, our special assignment unit is taking the lead on the scene, and as I mentioned, the scene is still active. To bring to your memory, less than 2 months ago, Phoenix Police Officer Tyler Moldovan was shot in the line of duty and is still fighting every day to recover. This is just one more example of the dangers our officers face every day, keeping us and our community safe. If I seem upset, I am. This is senseless, it doesn't need to happen, and it continues to happen over and over again. But I'm thankful that our 4 officers are recovering, and one of them is seriously hurt but is on the road to recovery. I want to remind everyone to keep law enforcement at the top of your thoughts and prayers, and a reminder of how dangerous this profession is. Thank you.
We're going to be providing additional information as the morning develops. As you can imagine, this is a very fluid situation. We have multiple officers shot. We have an active scene in the West Valley. Sergeant Andy Williams is on scene in the West Valley, and we'll be providing additional information later this morning, including the ages and years of service of our officers. If anybody has any generic questions, I may be able to answer them now. Again, this is a very active investigation in the early stages.
The woman who was critically injured, how was she related to the incident?
We don't know yet. This is still active. We're still trying to figure out who's related to who and what led up to this shooting.
What was the original call? What were officers there?
So the original call was a call of a shooting, and our officers responded, and our first arriving officer was struck by gunfire.
Is that baby okay?
The information I have is the baby is okay. Again, we're going to be providing additional information as the morning develops. Thank you all.
Right. You've been listening live to a media briefing from Phoenix Police, of course, led there by Police Chief Jerry Williams, getting reasonably upset because of the situation, again, with officers being put into danger, trying to respond to a situation originally called in as a shooting call. The first officer responded, struck by gunfire. In all, They're saying that 4 officers have been hit, one of them seriously injured. Fortunately, they are all recovering. They're working to get us the names and time of service for all those officers.
Yeah, they also mentioned that a baby was involved. We've been showing you that video here on 12 News this morning and today in AZ. Police chief did say that the baby is, well, police confirm the baby does look to be okay. We saw a gentleman put that down on the steps, put the baby down, and then back away to police. So we know that the baby is okay, but one woman is critically injured. So all in all, you have 4 officers injured, 1 woman critically injured in the scene out in West Phoenix, which they described as still active and ongoing.
And again, the police chief talking about Officer Tyler Moldovan. You remember he was hurt, shot in the head, shot 8 times in total, responding to a scene. He is still recovering. So one of the things that continues to frustrate the police chief and chiefs around the country are these officers who are being critically injured, responding, just trying to do their job day to day. So again, we're going to try to get more information about the officers involved, how they're doing, specifically their conditions this morning, and more information about the suspect taken into custody.
Team 12's Jess Winters has been out there reporting all morning long. We'll check in with her one more time throughout the show here. We'll continue to have coverage right here on this shooting this morning and bring you updates as soon as we get them. Going to switch now to the Olympic Games.
History continuing to be made by Team USA, hanging in the top 5. You've got Norway and Austria at the top with 14 medals, all Russia and Canada tied with 12. We're going to continue to follow this as we head into a busy weekend of Olympic Games.
All right, let's give you a look at what's coming up for other Olympians later on today.
Mixed team snowboard cross makes its Winter Games debut with 1 man and 1 woman per team. Once the men cross the finish line, their time transfers to their partners for a staggered start. Then the first woman to cross the finish line wins. Plus, the U.S. men's hockey team, coming off an 8-0 win over China, faces Canada in preliminary play. Also, there's a lot of short track speed skating with finals in the women's 1,000 meters, plus men's action in the 500-meter individual event and the 5,000-meter relay. And head first at 80 miles per hour, medals will be awarded in men's skeleton.
And don't forget, our coverage of the Olympic Games continues right here on air and at 12news.com. Later this hour, we're going to check in with NBC's Jay Gray. He is live in Beijing.
Still ahead on Today in AZ, our Winter Games coverage continues with Jay. As you mentioned, we can't get enough.
He's got the latest on the games and what we can expect when it comes to fans today. And also, what is your go-to Super Bowl snack? Let us know. Text us, 602-444-1212. Coming up, we're going to take a closer look at your best game day dishes.
Ooh, I got a recipe to die for. 12 News is your home of Super Bowl 56. The pregame starts Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Kickoff is a little after 4 in the afternoon. Then stick around for the Winter Olympics and, of course, 12 News at 10.